This video is about my art installation in the Westbeth Gallery for their winter exhibit that opened on November 23rd, 2024. It was called Children in Cages, Shot, Starved, Bombed. And it addressed the dire situation for children in our world this year, who around the world are being abused, killed, starved. It began with the Trump administration's policy in his first term to separate children at the borders and put them in cages as holding them until they could find some place to put them. Even up to today, many parents do not know where their children are. And this policy was a horrible policy, and many people protested about it. I actually, when I was living in Amman by myself, I held a sign in front of the American embassy that said, "No children in cages," and I continued to protest when I returned to the United States on Christmas Day by myself, walking around the federal building with the sign, "No children in cages." I decided to do an art piece with my grandchildren, and I found a large canvas I had given to me by the famous artist Anne Tabachnick. And she had painted some wings on the canvas and then discarded it. So I used those wings and incorporated art piece around them. I asked my grandchildren, each one of them, to lie on the canvas and take a pose that they might feel, to express how they would feel if they were separated from their parents. So Nadal Bhay and Aria Bhay posed, and we traced their bodies, and then we painted them together. It's a very strong piece, and it was even described, as you'll see later in the video, as a scary piece. And then I rolled it up and was trying to figure out a place to exhibit it. And over the time, the last few years, we've added many other atrocities to children. The children in Gaza being shot and starved and bombed, the children in the West Bank, many of whom are in prisons, also killed by IDF soldiers, but also the children in the Ukraine kidnapped by the Russians and sent to Russia to be raised as Russians, children in the Congo caught in the Civil War, many of whom are being used as child soldiers, and then the many children working in mining around the world illegally. There was recently a UN report about that. So children around the world are an endangered species, being starved in famines in Sudan and in Ethiopia as we speak, as well as in Gaza. So the piece came to have more meaning. And when the Westbeth Gallery had a call for art, I decided to exhibit it, but it was too big for the rules for the show. So what I did was I folded it up and made a column from the canvas and placed it in a cage made of chicken wire. My studio assistant, Ihab, Madi, aka Kareem, carefully stitched with wire the entire cage together and stabilized it so it would stand. And although he's a Muslim, he suggested to me, we should put a crown of thorns on top of the head because these children are suffering unjustly the way Jesus did. So I ordered a crown of thorns, and it came from Bethlehem, and I placed that on the top of the installation. Also, I placed candles around the bottom. So it was a very powerful piece. It's 6'2" tall, and 6'4" tall, and about the base is about 21 inches with wire on the bottom to stabilize it, so it's about 26 inches across the bottom. So I'm now going to share with you some of the comments made by my dear friend, the husband of Nina Gerda Wirtz, who is a well-known filmmaker and performer, dancer, who's done many films on Palestinians and refugees. She's very passionate. And her genius musician, composer husband, Daniel, who kindly made some comments that I have recorded and have at the end of this video. Thank you.
Except you.
All right. What's your reaction to my work?
Obviously, there are allusions to Gaza, the Ukraine, and so forth and so on. The Ukrainian children who've been kidnapped and are being raised as Russians, for example, and the tens of thousands of kids in Gaza who've been killed, tens of thousands. But what I was struck, when I saw the wire, I thought immediately of the Berlin Wall that had the barbed wire on top. No, not that anybody could get through what was called the no man's land. The beings, to me, are an allusion to Edvard Munch.
Oh, wow, thank you.
From the, when did he live, in the 30s?
Yeah.
So, to me, it's very up to date.
Thank you very much.
In a scary way. It's a very scary piece.
It is. And they have the highest number of children amputees in any war ever in Gaza.
In polio.
It's horrible. And the people who are supposed to be for family values and women's values and families' values, it's a joke. The hypocrisy is enormous. Thank you very much for your comments. I really appreciate it.